Hi everyone, and welcome to week one, or rather the rest of week one since you've already finished the orientation module. In this short video, I'm going to explain roughly what these overview pages are, since you'll see one every week, and I want to explain how they're set up and a few of the things you're going to be using in the course pretty consistently so that you can feel a little bit more comfortable with how things are laid out. So let me go ahead and get us started here. So every week in each module, you're always going to have a weekly overview page. These overview pages are generally where I put the lecture or course content for the week, any videos, any readings or links you might need, so they're extremely important. And they're also going to be set up pretty much the same every week, so I wanted to show you what that would look like. Now this is my Sandbox course, but for now it'll do. The weekly overviews are laid out in three different sections usually. First is general overview of the week at the top. The middle is where you're going to see the lesson content, and the bottom is where you're going to see any due dates or assignments that you'll need to complete that week. Okay, so that's the general setup. There's usually a lot more content on it, but like I said, this is just a sample page. Now, over in week one, you were introduced to this course schedule, which is just a sample schedule that hopefully, if all goes according to plan, will remain the same for the rest of the semester, but things rarely end up that way, so this is just an overview to make sure you understand the structure and what's coming up, but it's not the main place you want to look for your due dates. There are two different places you can do that. The first is on your dashboard, which you can get to by accessing this left-hand toolbar on a PC or the bottom toolbar on the app. Over on the dashboard page, you're going to see a to-do list on the far right. That to-do list shows you any upcoming assignments, usually up to a week out in any of the courses you're enrolled in. So our upcoming assignments will show up here, but you usually don't have a lot of advance notice when they show up in the to-do list. Instead, you can always use the course calendar within Canvas to see what's coming up at a much longer glance. Now, this is an example of the Canvas calendar. It's last semester, so you're going to see strike-throughs on the assignments, which means that the deadline has passed. But the course calendar gives you a much better glance of what's coming up and how many things you might have due at a certain time. Again, you can access the course calendar on the left-hand toolbar, and it will show you all of the assignments coming up for any courses you're enrolled in, but you can also toggle courses on and off by using the setting options over on the right-hand side over here. So you'll notice that I have 3 courses selected, and if that's getting a bit crowded, I can always remove a course or even 2 just to look at what is happening in one course specifically. So this will help you kind of plan out better what your weeks will look like, what else you have going on in other courses, and you can even toss in your own calendar events on this page to help plan work or other projects with maybe groups or something. So this is very useful. You can also get a week at a glance and an agenda glance at the top. It's a cool little tool. I recommend you go in and play around with those settings a bit. There are going to be 3 times during the semester that you can participate in optional extra credit assignments to bring your grade up or to prepare to bring your grade up later in the semester. These are going to come in the form of response essays. These are going to be very short 1 to 2 page essays that respond to your reading of a single collection of poetry by a single author. Now, in another video, I will explain the differences between collections of poetry, chapbooks, and anthologies, and offer some suggestions for books you might want to pick up that I have read and enjoyed myself. The assignment, though, is an essay, which is different than the content I teach in this course, so make sure you refer back to your composition courses or any other writing courses that have helped you learn how to write the basics of an essay. You have a bunch of options for what you could write about, but essentially you're going to be addressing a single element of the craft of poetry within that collection. So you might write a short essay on how this single author uses a consistent theme throughout the collection, or maybe covers different types of concrete details throughout the collection. So there's a lot of options here. It's not a research-driven essay, although it is usually helpful to get background information about the author. It's a pretty informal essay, and there is information on the evaluation of that essay down at the bottom of this. You'll submit them straight to these assignments, and again, they'll be available 3 times during the semester, so if you are on your second or third, you actually have the option to compare 2 poets and kind of handle things that way instead of doing another craft essay on just a different poet. So we'll come back to those, and they will have their own separate assignment sheets and videos linked to them as well. But be aware, they come up 3 times during the semester in week 5, week 10, and then in week 15. All right. I will be the first to admit that no one likes discussion boards in online classes, and they're not very good at doing their job. But I will say that I have tried out several different options, and students have generally said that discussions end up being the easier of those, so I've decided to keep them in this course. We will use discussions in 2 different ways. We'll use them for weekly reader response posts, and we will use them for the workshop unit. They're a great way to make sure you are engaging with the other people in the course, hearing their ideas, getting new perspectives on your own work, and making sure that you just don't feel alone in the class. So they are going to be considered our necessary evil, and we'll do the best we can with them. But if you have ideas, feel free to drop any to me. So this first week we are going to do an introduction discussion board just to get you used to the practice of using the discussion boards if you haven't before, and so you can meet some of the other people that you'll be working with this semester. Instructions are on this page, and there are also instructions on how to post to discussion boards in general and how to post videos. So these tutorials are available if you need them, but let me know if you do need anything else. Each week you're going to have the opportunity to do a reader response post on the discussion boards we just talked about. These reader responses are usually an opportunity for you to read a short article, essay, maybe poem, watch a video about poetry, or maybe even read poems themselves and discuss them with your peers. They are generally short, about 150 words, and involve 2 separate deadlines. You'll have an initial post due on Thursday of the week, and then the response post to your peers due by Sunday. So make sure you keep track of that second deadline and not let it slip away from you. It might be a good idea to just put them on your own personal calendar if that will help keep track of them. This first week we'll be watching a short TED Talk and responding to our peers. We actually won't be responding to our peers. This first one you send just to me so that you can get the hang of the format, and then week 2 we'll start out with responding to peers. Okay, so that about does it for this week. I just wanted to give you a brief overview of what was going to be covered. There is more text below to explain a little bit more of the concepts we've discussed, and if anything's come up so far in this first week that you would like answered, I can assure you you're probably not the only one with that question. So if you have any, please feel free to email me on Atlas, message me on Canvas, or you can even send me a chat straight through Zoom without having to open up a Zoom video chat with me. I will show you how to do that in the next short video below. If there's anything else you need, just message, and I hope you guys enjoy your first week. Make sure to take some breaks so you can keep track of all your classes. All right, have a good day.